Lately, it's really easy to create scroll-based image animations. Let me show you some examples. Let's start with a hero image that zooms in and changes the opacity of the text when you're scrolling. So I'm scrolling down now, and you see the image is zooming and the text is fading. Or this photo with coffee mugs that has a parallax effect. Or as a little bonus, a photo of Paris fading in. The thing I love about this is that it's made with pure CSS, no JavaScript needed. For now it only works in Chrome and Edge, but it's a matter of time before Firefox and Safari will support it too. The beauty of the code I'm going to show you is that it still works fine on browsers that don't support it. So all the slick looking animations like these, yes, they are missing for now, but the important thing is the page won't break. In this video I'm going to show you how we are going to create this hero image with parallax effect. So let's dive right into the code. We start with the HTML of the hero header, where I place text on top of an image. So let's create a container. We name it hero, image hero. Then we add the actual image. I already got a nice folder with images, in this example Amsterdam. And then we are going to create a simple container for text. This looks good. We got an image, and on the bottom we got test text. So looks good. Let's switch to the CSS, where we add the class image hero. Then I apply display grid and the property grid template areas stack. I really like this technique to stack the image and the text. I will show you. So we go to here, image hero image, and then I use the grid area stack, which I created here, and I do the same for the text. And as you can see, the text is now on top of the image. Let's do some fixes on the image. We got an horizontal scroll bar, so we have to apply width 100%. We want to fill the whole window, so height 100 VH, and the image is getting stretched now because the original image has another ratio. So object fit cover keeps the original resolution of the image intact, so it only cuts the sides off. This looks much better. And what we can do now for the text is apply display grid and then place all the items in the center. So as you can see, the text is now centered. If we want to recreate the demo I showed you before, we have to add some heading, a text, and we have to make the background a little bit darker. So let's do that first before we are going to create this slick looking parallax effect. So first I'm going to the HTML. I'm adding an H1, a heading. So an awesome heading. Let's create some text. As you can see, there is a lot of spacing between the text now. Also for this demo I really need a container. I will show you later. So let's add a class named wrapper. At least the alignment vertically is correct now. So we are switching to the CSS. First we are going to create the wrapper for the text. So image hero wrapper. A thing I really prefer for classes is that you name it text wrapper, so you know the wrapper is inside the text to prevent confusion. So this is. Now we are going to center a line, The text is center aligned. I think it's good to add some padding on the main container. And now we also have an H1 and P, so H1, I'm really lazy, so I prefer copy pasting my class names. And something I'm really fond of is applying responsive font size. I apply this to almost every project. So I prepared this one, and I would love to explain this in another video. As you can see, the font size is set, and when I make my screen smaller, the size will shrink. When I make it bigger, the size will upscale. Let's apply some margin to the bottom. I will do the same for the paragraph text. So I apply my prepared clamp, add some line height, and let's make the font a little bit bigger to make it look beautiful. Looks good. The last thing we have to do to reproduce the same style is set the image some grayscale and I think some opacity. So let's go to the image where I apply an opacity on the image. So opacity 06, which is essentially a transparency of 40%. Look, if I apply background red, then there is 40% red now through the image. Let's set it to black, looks much better. Then I apply the filter for the grayscale to make the text even better readable. So 70% grayscale, and the text is really badly visible now. I forgot to apply set index to the text, so now it's really on top of the image. The next step is the parallax effect, and to test this we need some more content. So as you can see, I created a section with 100 HV. So we're going to the index, making a section with a class section. Feels really bad to name a class the same as the element, but for this demo it's fine. And then I'm scrolling down. Okay, we go back to CSS. Now we're going to work on the exciting part, the parallax effect. We do that by adding an animation with keyframe. So first we're going to create an animation name. So animation, and I prefer to name it the same as the class in this case, so animation. I'm not going to add a duration or the way it animates, so just the animation name. We're going to add the keyframe, so keyframes, and then we have to apply the name again, and we are going to animate it to a scale to 1.5. So on default the image has a scale of 1, and we're going to animate it to 1.5. And now the magic is going to happen. We're going to use the property animation and then timeline, and we set this to view. You got view and scroll. View is for the whole view and scroll is only inside one element. And to make this animation work, I'm going to set the animation range to exit. And as you can see, when I scroll down now, the animation is working. So the image, when you scroll down, it's zooming in. Works wonderful. Let me explain you how this works. Google made a great site to visualize how the animation property is working. I will add the link to the description. As you can see, the property is set to cover. And if you scroll down now, there is no effect yet. And now the animation effect starts working. Based on the element which is scrolling now into your window. As you can see, the cover is a great property if the image is not on top of the site. In our case it is, and that's why I choose the exit property. So I go back, I set it to exit, and as you can see, when we see the red element here, the animation effect is not working. It only works when it goes out of when it's exiting the view. So as you can see, it becomes green, and when I scroll down now, it starts working. This property is perfect if your image is on top, but if it's in the middle of the site, it's better to set it to cover or contain, and you can play around with a range. It's a great tool to visualize how things are working and how you can get the preferred animation effect. Okay, let's go back. And now we're going to finish the animation on the image. So let's say we apply an opacity of 0.2, which is 20% of the image will be visible. And then we set the filter grayscale to 0, so we will disable it. And as you can see, when we scroll now, the image will get darker because the opacity, and it will add a little bit more color. To make this really awesome, we are also going to apply an effect on the text. I'm a little lazy, so I'm going to copy paste those properties. Then I go to text, also going to add some keyframes. Of course, we are going to name this text. That's the big downside of copy pasting. It's easy to make a mistake with naming things the right thing. And I think what's nice to do is also apply opacity. So let's go to 0. Let's see if that works. Yes, it works. But as you can see, when I scroll down now, the text is not moving with us. So let's apply transform, translate I, and let's do 45 VH because this is 100. The text is in the middle, so it will be around 45 VH. Let's scroll down. Now this text is moving with us, and as you can see, wonderful. There are two important things I didn't mention yet, but you really have to add this to your code. The first thing is checking if your browser supports this code. And when I'm talking about support, it's about the animation timeline property. So let me show you Safari. It works fine here, as you can see in our example. But let's say you set the opacity on 50%. And when it animates, we set it to 100, so to 1. Works nicely, but when I go to Safari now, and I scroll down, nothing will happen. This is why you need to add the support query. So we're going to support, where we apply the animation timeline property, so animation timeline, and in particular the view. And now I'm going to copy paste this selector and remove this code. So this code only has to be executed when the browser supports it. Of course, I have to remove it here. And as you can see, it won't change a thing here in Chrome where it's supported, but when I go to Safari, the text is 100% opacity instead of 50%, so that works greatly. That's why you have to add support to your code. The second thing you shouldn't forget is the media query for reduced motion. Some people really get nauseous by animations like a parallax effect because they are sensitive to motion. In the browser they enable a setting to reduce motion, and the following media query will respond to that. So in this case we add the media query inside support. So add media, and then the setting prefers reduced motion, no preference. And by adding this code, we will make sure that people who are sensitive to motion don't get sick when they scroll through our website. So that's a really nice thing to do. Thanks for hanging with me today. Do you have a CSS challenge for me that you struggle with? Let me know in the comments, and until next time.